YouTube, welcome back. We're here past the prop, ready to roll for our Thursday Night Football best bets. And we got first look for Sunday. We're going to be back tomorrow, back-to-back days again this week because another injury-riddled Thursday Night Football game. But we're here to still talk about it. Stu, how you doing, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, yesterday I was going to look at the stuff. I know we've joked about Troy Franklin being your boy. So I'm like, okay, let me see what these guys are lined at. I open up the app and we've got 4 options, and I'm like, okay, so we've got the worst primetime game of the year so far, and then we've got 4 options to bet on. Like, there's no way we're doing a show for that. But luckily, we got a little bit more of a board. It's a little bit better, and I've switched over on this game. At first, I was a hater. At first, I was negative. Now I'm just looking forward to the shit show. You got to center yourself for a minute. You got to remember what life is like on like a Tuesday in the middle of the summer where there's just like day game Pirates versus Tigers. And you're just like, man, I wish I could have football, And at the end of the day, I'm going to accept this. I'm going to take it. There's a lot of young players. There's a lot of interesting things to watch. And the best way to make a shitty game more fun is making a little bit of fucking money on top. So that's what we're going to do today.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I still like the Pirates, bro. I think I still like that Pirates game on a Tuesday. You're talking to the wrong guy here.
I could have picked the worst team. I was on the fly. I was doing the best I could. Could have made it a little. I could have said national.
Some schemes, bro. You could have said some schemes there, bro. I could see schemes going. I would watch schemes 10 times out of 10 before this shit. But I know a lot of people out there betting some fucking some gross dudes betting on today. We're betting on some dudes, but I'm happy you mentioned Troy Franklin. That guy's a dog. Again, I drafted him in the last round of 52% of my best ball leagues. Anything he gets is good, dude. Because when you draft somebody that late, you're just hoping he gets you with some bye weeks when you're drafting him that late. If he gets me, he even made my lineup last week because I'm pretty sure he had a pretty nice night. He had a pretty nice night last week. So he made a couple lineups because I had a couple Justin Jefferson ones where he was not playing with a bye week. So fit really well. So happy to see Troy Franklin finally getting out there, getting some run, and obviously working with his college quarterback there. We got 15, 16 of you guys popping in here. We get to talk about a shit show that was Monday Night Football last week, and that was the Bills and the Jets. Let's just go through. We both dropped ours. We had Josh Allen, and we had my Guardians taking the L pretty fat there. Breece Hall did get to his, but it doesn't matter. We drop them both. I do want to talk a little bit here, Stu, about that game, and obviously we can talk a little bit about these trades that have been going on.
Yeah, that was a depressing game, man. I mean, just before I lost, it's good. We got to humble ourselves. We were on a good run. Unfortunately, we took a couple L's here. But as you guys know, over the last 3 years, we're going to tell you about the L's just like we're going to tell you about the wins. Unfortunate. Josh Allen never got the chance to run here. I mean, it was just the game script did not work out that way. I had 17.5 first half yards and some underdog parlays that would have cashed, and he ended up at 16 as well. Couldn't even get me the first half one. So that was unfortunate. That game in general was just ugly. I also had Ty Johnson as a late ad. He had an 11-yard run to start the game and then vanished, was not to be seen for the rest of the game. So that was honestly the most tilting part. I lost more money on Josh Allen, but you can kind of tell that's not going great with the game script and stuff. Having Ty Johnson just not touch the ball for the rest of the game was just tilting me out of my mind. It was infuriating because you're putting in the rookie on the 2-minute drills, on all these other kind of plays. It's what is going on here? What is Ty Johnson's been a pass catching back in the league for 5 years, and he's lost his 2-minute drills to a rookie that was, I don't know. That was killing me. But obviously, like you said, the trades afterwards, we saw some wide receivers added to both squads. Amari Cooper, notably leading the lead in drops. I see a lot of people pointing that out. You go back and look through, not all those passes are very catchable. It was Deshaun Watson throwing the ball. A couple of those are on him, but also, can you really blame a guy for losing a little bit of mental focus, playing on the worst team possible, right? With the worst quarterback in the league. I'm big on the buy low on Amari Cooper. He'll be a lot of fun. My question mark is, though, what does the rest of this wide receiver core look like? I'm still big on Shakir. I think a lot of people are giving up on Shakir. They don't really do the same thing. Shakir is going to be in the slot. He's going to be able to open up a little bit more, do his own thing. Still a really big fan of Shakir. It's more of the other guys, the Colemans, you're not going to want to have them in fantasy. You're not going to want to play these guys going forward. He loves Mac Hollins for whatever reason. He always throws like a 30-yard bomb to Mac Hollins. So he might lose that job, unfortunately, but definitely a big pickup on Amari Cooper. I know you're a little bit more familiar with Devontae. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I guess my one thing on the Bills one is I dropped Keon Coleman in my 10-man league. I dropped him.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm keeping Kincaid. Obviously, I think he's going to be fine. But, yeah, the Devontae one, I'm not sure, man. I'm curious. Like, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know. I think I like that they finally said, hey, Breece Hall, you're the dude, bro. Let's fucking go. And then he went crazy, man. Yep. He went off in that game. And you gotta think though, if Rodgers has full control of this offense, it's gonna be the Devontae show, bro. It's gonna be Devontae and Breece Hall. How's Garrett Wilson gonna take it, bro? That's what I'm saying. He was getting 40% target share, and now he's gonna probably be down to like 20 to 25% because Devontae is going up there. Breece Hall is still gonna get his, right? And then Allen Lazard is gonna get his. It's pretty much the Packers of 4 years ago, bro. It really is.
Oh, it's so funny how tilted gambling Twitter is going to be when Allen Lazard catches the first touchdown in the game where they're all healthy. Like, oh my God, because he still loves Allen Lazard. Like, that's not changed. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what happens, he still loves his guys. It's always been that way. Randall Cobb joined him for a number of years until his body physically couldn't anymore. Otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Randall Cobb like week 8. You know what I mean? Just pick him back up from the practice squad. Why not? But yeah, obviously Mike Williams probably be looking for a new team after this as well. Maybe you don't drop him just for the sole reason that he might actually be traded. That seems to be a rumor that's going around with Rodgers throwing him under the bus in public a couple times as well. So I don't know. It's really hard to bet on. I will not be betting on either of them in their first game unless we see something like insane number. But my guess will be that I think they use Garrett Wilson in more of a deep ball role. I think they let him kind of be a downfield guy, let him use that catch radius. And then Devontae just kind of goes back to Devontae, just doing everything everywhere, but just maybe a little less of those kind of deep bombs and a little bit more. Because that's what they did in the Raiders. They just kind of used him down the field, but Rodgers used him everywhere. So receptions for Devontae probably it would be the move. Well, like yards would probably be the move for Wilson going forward. But that's just my guess. We won't know until we see it, obviously.
Yeah, I think we start seeing a slot Devontae again. We didn't really see him out in LA, or Vegas, but man, slot Devontae was nasty. That little like behind, going right behind the dude, back corner, dude, back shoulder. This dude's money. It was just back shoulder every time we got in the red zone with Devontae Adams. It was cool to watch. But yeah, I mean, I feel like people like. Now that Rodgers is on all this stuff and talking about drugs and shit, like, they didn't realize this guy was a dick forever. Like, it's not like he's like this is like a new thing. Like, everybody's like, oh, he's throwing his people. Bro, he's been throwing people under the bus for fucking 12 years, bro.
Yeah.
You just don't give a shit because he's winning. Right now that he's losing, it don't matter. Dude, the amount of times I heard this dude motherfuck guys like in the media, this is not new. And I think that people are like, oh my God. He said this about Mike Williams, bro. You're on the wrong route. You're not gonna just say, "Hey, good job, buddy." Like, that was what bothered me the most was just his mannerisms on the field at his teammates, bro. Like, he'll do that like every time, and it's just like, was it all his fault? You know what I'm saying? So, just like I always think that's funny that everybody's like, "Oh my God, Rodgers calling this dude out in the media." This ain't new. It's literally been the last 10 years, but you don't give a shit because he's winning, and now they're not winning, so now it matters. So let's take a look at the chat here. We got Joe in here. First comment. Welcome back, man. We got Flam in here as always. Yeah, Thomas, you're a smart man. Get those brownie points while you can. You know what to do. PPS, boy, Bo Nix in prime time. Sean Payton. Oh, God, it's a gross game, bro. Sean Payton still, I don't know how I feel about it, but it's all right. We'll see. We got Perk Rogers is different. Yeah, I know. Did you see that video where he said he was playing on Percocet and it was, yeah. I won't put anything past that dude. So, Stu, let's talk about this game. Like we said at the beginning, kind of gross. But we have a 2.5 point spread. We have a favorite minus 115 on DraftKings with the Broncos. Over unders at 37 and at 37 flat now. 37 minus 112 to the over. What's happening? What are we looking at here? This is tough.
Yeah, I mean, this is for me almost so simple of just under and dog and keep it moving. Like laying points with the Broncos is not something I ever want to do. You guys already know if you've been watching the show for a little bit that I have been a little bit of a sucker for the Saints as well. I have bet on them multiple times so far this season. Just somewhat mixed results, including a push against Atlanta that really killed me. A push somehow stings worse than a loss because you're like, oh, I could have had that right number. Like could have got the job done. But overall, I still think even with no wide receivers and a backup quarterback, like this game is going to be so disgusting. Just give me the points. I do like the under. I have a hard time seeing either team creating explosive plays. Like that's just what it comes down to. Your Bo Nix doesn't throw the ball more than 5 yards down the field, so it's going to be really hard to do that. And then on the other side, Denver just blitzes the hell out of you. They're sending pressure at the league high rate. They're just going to keep coming for you over and over again. That's a rough matchup for a rookie quarterback going up against this Vance Joseph defense with even without Patrick Surtain, who they lost mid-game. I think they're going to be able to plan around that well. McMillan in the slot is still very good, as Riley Moss has been outside as well. So I think there's still enough firepower there for Denver secondary to be good. Just going to be a defensive kind of ugly game. There's going to be a lot of opportunities though to capitalize on these kind of like under the radar players. You know, we mentioned Troy Franklin off the top, a guy that has that chemistry from college that people aren't really talking about, but that matters a lot. Like when you've played with such a unique quarterback like Nick's in the past, and then you're going to get Lil Jordan Humphreys, I believe, back involved as well. He could be another sneaky guy. Cedric Wilson on the Saints side, a guy that's been a solid wide receiver in the past, been kind of buried on the Miami depth chart recently. Now with New Orleans, another guy that could be like a solid, sneaky guy. So for me, this game is just kind of about going through all these ugly names, all these backups, kind of finding out what they do well and try to hopefully squeeze a little bit of value out of it. Because when everyone's lined at 15 to 25 yards, someone's going over. Multiple guys are going over. It's just kind of our job to figure out which one of these, career backups or rookies drafted beyond the third round is going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, almost wants me to bet the over, bro. Like,
I've
you know
heard
what
that
I mean? Like, it's just so fucking low. Like,
yeah.
Could I see Bo Nix throwing a touchdown right to the Saints? Fuck yeah! I could see Spencer Rattler doing it too. Like, I could see more defensive touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. 37 is so low. It's gonna be such a gross game. So either way, whatever I bet, I probably will just check the halftime score and then I'll check with about 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter and watch the end. Because like this is that type of game. This is a game like if it's on a Sunday, there's probably 12 people watching it on a Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
So now you might get 11.
Yeah.
11,000 just from people who ain't got nothing better to watch on, even though phenomenal baseball matchups tonight. So watch that shit instead of this because this shit's gross.
I don't know, man. I'll be right there with those 11,000. At the end of the day, like it's two rookie quarterbacks that are going to be tested here as well. Like even beyond the game kind of sucking, like we're going to learn a lot, I think, from a betting perspective. Like a guy like Rattler immediately coming in to a tough defense, to a blitz heavy team. Like we're going to kind of find out, do you have what it takes to stick around in the NFL? This is the test. They're putting, your feet to the fire instantly. And then a guy like Bo Nix, shown some good, shown some bad. I'm not a fan still. He seems like he's winning over more people every week with, one check down at a time. But like this isn't an easy task as well. The Saints, their talent is never that great, but like Allen is good at the defensive scheming, at getting guys to play kind of above their means. So it's going to be interesting. I'm still like, I get what you mean about the ugly stuff, but the more we look at it, to me, like I think we're going to learn a lot of pretty valuable information in this game. So if that is something you care about for the betting, for the DFS, for the fantasy, whatever, then hopefully that's something to motivate you a little bit to care about this game. And as to me, the backups, Franklin, these rookies, maybe you're a college guy, get to see some of these guys actually get a chance for once.
I mean, if you want to say that for the Broncos, sure. We ain't gonna learn shit about the Saints. Like we ain't learning nothing. They don't even have their two best players on offense.
Yeah,
like,
how long have those guys gone for?
That ain't gonna help you. What's that gonna help you with?
Well, we've got to bet on this team one way or another for the next couple weeks. Shaheed probably out for the year. Olave out for 4 weeks, 3 weeks. This is the current situation, whether we fucking like it or
that's
not.
That's why it don't matter. We don't have to bet on every game. We don't have to bet on every game. This will never. I will not bet on the Saints. I
You
will
can
not bet
make
on
a
the
lot
Saints.
more money betting on the Saints than you can the Chiefs because everyone in the
I
fucking
don't
world
bet on the
is
Chiefs
that.
either, though. I don't bet
But
on them
you get
either.
the point. You
I
get the
find my
point.
teams that I want to bet on because they give you like the actual stuff that's gonna be valuable. Like this shit. This is valuable for ladders. I don't bet ladders that much, right? I'm not a ladder better. Right? If you're gonna bet ladders, this is a perfect game for you because it's gonna be probably 0 catches for 0 yards, or you might go for 80. So, but that's not how I bet. That's why you see us not betting too many long shots. It's just one. But yeah, this game does nothing for me for my long term because I'm probably never going to bet them again. It's just they're on prime time and it's their one time. It's their one time in prime time, unless they start winning games, and I ain't seeing that with Spencer Rattler. So I will very much enjoy checking the last 5 minutes, and I hope it's a good game. I hope you guys have a great game. Because guess what? So I get to watch the Yankees, and then I get to watch some Dodgers. Like, what more could I want? I would much rather watch that tonight, just because this is valuable games, man. This is big time. So I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, you guys know these primetime games, Thursdays and Mondays, I usually have it mixed with baseball. Today is not different. So I will kick it over to you, Stu, to start us off. We got 55 live viewers in here. Hit that like button. We got to 98 likes on the last video, Stu. I don't know if you looked, but we had 98 likes. We're 2 off. We got to get there. Either it's today or tomorrow. I'm hoping we get to that 100 like mark. We never have done that yet. So hopefully today is the day. Stu, take us away with our first bet.
Yeah, climbing the ladder a little bit. We got Juwan Johnson over 2.5 catches, minus 140. I believe it's moved to minus 145 since the show started as well over on FanDuel right now. So I played at minus 145. This is juicy. I don't really ever plan on getting this juicy again for the rest of the year. But honestly, like this was so clearly the play that stuck out to me going over this slate that like I had to fire. Like this is the one. This is what I'm going with tonight. This is what determines my night. I'll have some long shots, like you said. I'll have some ladders. You know, I like it. I like rolling around in the dirt. You know, I like the 7th-year breakouts and the rookie 4th-round wide receivers. Just like for basketball too. You know, like all these sports. I think that's kind of the fun part. But I mean, looking at Juwan Johnson's actually the only guy maybe on this whole offense with a proven track record of being able to catch a football, which to me, I think is a huge plus when you look at this game. Just to start out, a guy that we know for sure when the quarterback throws it to him can catch the football. That's good. Because like Tipton, I don't know if that's the case. Like I honestly don't know who that is. And that's so rare as someone that consumes so much content to before the season started, not know even who he was, what college he played for. Like this is a rough wide receiver room. I mentioned, Wilson, obviously a guy that I kind of like, but the last thing he did was he was a slot wide receiver for Dallas like 3.5 years ago. That was the last time he ever did anything. So we're really asking for like these guys to do a lot. And it's going to come down to 2 people. It's going to come down to Alvin Kamara and Juwan Johnson. Like we know Alvin Kamara is getting his like 8 targets. You know what I mean? It happens every game in this offense, no matter who's the quarterback, no matter what. When you don't have a great offensive line and when you don't have that great of an offense in general, you're constantly going to be checking it down anyway. And when you got a guy like Alvin Kamara who can arguably do more with a check down than almost any other running back in the league, that's going to be your best option. So obviously Alvin Kamara is going to be, it's funny, a defense is going to have to focus on him as like the number 1 wide receiver essentially for this game. But we're going to see a lot of like man coverage on the outside. We're going to see a lot of opportunity for these guys to come up with big catches. And I'm not sure, I'm very confident that the Saints can do that. But one thing I am confident in, and I touched at the beginning of the show, this Broncos defense isn't going to give you a choice. They don't care 12 personnel, heavy suit. They don't care if you're going wide, 4 wide receivers, 3. They're bringing heat no matter what. That is their style of play. They're bringing pressure. They've been getting a lot of overperformers. A guy like Allen in the interior defensive line, one of the best pressure rates in the league so far this year. I'm not sure anyone had that on their bingo card, but they're every single week blitzing at an extremely high rate. They're getting after opposing quarterbacks. And now you got a guy making his 2nd career start, a guy that is not experienced. You're going to send heat. You're going to test this guy, make him beat you. And so what is that going to result in logically? It's going to result in short throws. It's going to result in checkdowns. You got to get the ball out fast when they're bringing this kind of pressure. Who better fits that mold than like your comfortable safety blanket pass catching tight end? Like Juwan Johnson is the safety blanket outside of, once again, Alvin Kamara, who we know is like probably getting 8 targets tonight. Juwan Johnson, in my opinion, should probably be at least tied for the betting leader to receive the most targets on this team. So when you look at the matchup as well, obviously the Broncos have been a great funnel to both running backs and tight ends all year long. it's every single week I look at this Broncos team, I want to bet on the tight end or the running back because their corner trio is really good. And losing Surtain is a big deal. Surtain is very good. But this defensive scheme has really elevated guys like Moss, guys like McMillan, who are playing at high levels right now. I have a lot of confidence that they step up against this kind of budget wide receiver room. So you're already getting a ton of targets funneled to the tight end position. Every tight end except your guy Noah Fant, who started the year with 2 catches against them. 5 straight tight ends have gone for at least 4 catches against them. We only need 3. I think this is a great matchup. I think it's a great opportunity for Juwan Johnson to keep just being a consistent check down, keep being that over the middle, kind of short yardage option. And he's an athletic guy. He can make a play happen. I also do like reception, just like red zone. Juwan Johnson, if you followed him for a while, has been a huge red zone weapon for this team. No Taysom Hill as well. It's one of those where if you get yards, you may only, benefit 1 or 2 yards in that red zone play, but obviously you get the reception. So had to play a little bit of juice. I don't mind pivoting, obviously, to the 27 yards. I would just not go above 30. I think that would be my kind of check off. But in almost every prop this game, to be honest, I'm probably going to tell you receptions instead of yards because I'm just not seeing the explosive plays. It's hard for me to see, especially the Bo Nix side. He throws the ball 3 yards at a time. But even Rattler was mostly doing that last game as well because he didn't have much of a choice. So love Juwan Johnson. A little pricey right here, but I think this definitely should be a 3.5 number. So had to take advantage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was hoping you'd talk about Kamara a little bit. Go talk about mine here quick and get to some questions. I'm going to be rolling Guardians full game under 9.5. Kamara 4 catches. Yeah, dude, I just don't know who else is catching the ball. Like I want to bet on Juwan Johnson as well. Those are literally the 2 people that even crossed my mind in this game, right? Because I like what you talked about with the corners. I like that spot. Also, all these blitzes, right? You talked about that, them blitzing a ton. Dude, how many times have we seen just Kamara literally just take block, 1 step, turn around, and catch it, right? It's been phenomenal. My thing is I have Kamara in fantasy in 2 of my 3 leagues, so very familiar with how things have been going. What I think has been really nice is the first 3 games you saw a lot more of just like run heavy approach, like 20 carries, and we saw like 2 to 4 targets in those games, right? And they're trying to like, hey, let's establish a run. Don't want to give them too many, touches. When you're running them like the first 2 downs of every drive, right, of every series. These last 2-3 weeks, man, and we've started to see 8, 9, but we've also seen the carries go from 19, 11, and 13, right? Obviously, those are coming because they're losing in the game, and we're coming there. Obviously, they're expected to lose this game. That's why the number's where it's at. They're a 3-point dog, 2.5-point dog. But who are you going to trust here? You pretty much broke it down really nice where you said, like, if you're going to throw a ball to somebody and they're going to catch it, there's 2 dudes that you can say that for. Outside of those 2, you're closing your eyes and crossing your fingers. That's really what you're doing. So I have to go with Kamara. The target share here has just been absurd. I really don't know who else they're going to throw the ball to outside of him and Johnson. So 4 catches makes me feel pretty good about it. Minus 270. It's part of this one. I got to get this out quick because it's now just moved to minus 125. So let me move that. It's annoying, but it came out right there pre-show at 120. But it's because the Guardians under is getting smashed, and I think it should be because guys, we're not in New York anymore, bro. We're in Cleveland. It is not going to be a short porch anywhere. I think everybody realizes like these Yankees hit bombs, right? But you got to hit it like 30 feet further in 75% of this park to get it out of the park. Like they've been hitting them in the Yankee Stadium. So I'm fine with Boyd. I know the Yankees are decent against lefties, but Boyd, I'd be surprised to see him go more than 3 innings. I think that it's win or go home right now for them, right? They're not even trying. If you go down 3-0, it's just game over, bro. It's a wrap. So I see Boyd going about 2 to 3 innings, maybe 1 time through the order, bring in the hammers, and let's see this bullpen go at it. Because once that drop pop up happened in that last game, that shit, the sales came undone. Because like, how do you deal with that, right? You have a Gold Glove caliber shortstop in Rocchio, and he just drops a fucking ball. So I think the Guardians are locked in today. I don't know how much they're going to hit Schmidt either, because Clark Schmidt has been very good in terms of limiting power. You're going to need like 3 or 4 hits in a row. So I think this is a great spot for a buy-up spot here and using the Guardians as a nice little parlay piece here. But I don't know if I trust them to win the game. If anything, I take them to win the series at like a crazy price just to spite the Yankees. But I think under 9.5, I think we're going to see a pretty decent outing from Schmidt on the other side as well. So I think that's a good spot to take an under here. But yeah, I'm gonna be on that baseball, man. And hey, I know there's a lot of people that agree with this, but you guys also got to remember, I tell you guys all the time, when I do these videos, I'm in the fucking weeds on this shit all day, man. I'll do this all the time. Like, I'm not coaching right now, so I have to be like in it, right? Like I was traveling with teams, minor league shit, doing all this stuff, and now I'm not there. So like I'm locked. Like I'm like, let's get this going, bro. Like this is where we want to be. R.I.P. dude. I don't know how Walker Buehler just shoved on him last night. That's a different story. That one hurt a little bit. Luckily, I had plus money spots on it and didn't kill me. But man, dude, that was rough. So I think this is going to be one more of the the afternoon slow start type of games. Maybe a team jumps out to a 2-3 run lead, and then you kind of see them hold off. Like if the Yankees go down here, that's the only thing I'm worried about is that they bring in some garbage cans out of the pen because you're already up 2-0 and you don't want to use them, and you're going to play tomorrow. So let's do this. I think it's a good spot, and obviously Kamara is going to be target city. I wish I could bet targets, bro. Like I would love to bet fucking targets. I would bet so many targets in this game for Kamara and Johnson. It's going to be a absolute shit show.
Yeah, I think like Prize Picks has it, but yeah, beyond that, nobody real does. But yeah,
nobody real.
I didn't mean it like that, but you know what I mean. Like,
no, I know what you mean, but I just don't think that's hilarious. You said.
Yeah, it's not like a real pick if you got to parlay it with something else. It's a good like secondary option in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, just rough in general. I do agree though, and I see Dark Side Dev in the chat hitting you with this is a good excuse to get you to watch baseball. I feel the same way. It's like I tail one of these. I actually have something to root for when the game goes on, so I'm not betting stupid shit. So definitely agree. And yeah, this actually lines up pretty well where you can watch this game and then watch the football game after too, or the other baseball game if you really want to. So definitely like it. Definitely like the combo. And I obviously talked about Kamara a lot. I knew you were going to as well, but like it's the only other option. Like look at the roster. You guys tell me the other option. I don't think it's Bub Means. I see a lot of people betting Bub.
I know, dude. He's everywhere. He's popping up everywhere. I'm like, what are we doing here, bro? Damn. I'm like, if Stu ain't betting him, then I ain't betting him because this dude is the definition of a monotone football bet on a guy that's like that. And now everybody's betting him. So I'm like.
Yeah, if they gave you like a 19.5 maybe, but they came out the gates like aggressive. Like it was 33-34. There's no discount. They were ready for it off the bat. So for me, once again, if there would have been a guy, it would have been your guy Troy Franklin. He opened at 15.5, but he's up to 21.5. So like I missed the window now. Like I was kind of thinking about it. It got to 18, now it's 21. So like if there is like a real sneaky, like a guy just hasn't been caught up yet on his role, I would go Franklin. Once again, the college thing is big to me. Like the chemistry built in, the knowing how they play already. Like, yeah, I like Franklin as a sleeper.
Yeah, I think I might bet like an alternate receptions maybe on him or something. I'd be surprised if it isn't sitting at like 3.5 as like a regular line. Just because of these dump offs and shit.
The problem with Franklin is so far this year, his ADOT is above 15. So
I know. The first like 20 routes he ran this year, he was just like, hey, fuck it, set him down the field. Like that's I'm like, what are we doing? That's not what he does, bro. He's a really good across the middle type of player, bro. You can't be doing this.
Well, if you remember too, like their offense in college too was like they rock you to sleep with the short passes and then they just send him deep eventually. That's like out of nowhere you think he's running a 4-yard route and he's just right by you. Like that's the goal of their offense. And I think Franklin could kind of give that to you in this game as well. The biggest thing is just like someone in the chat asked about Vele, I believe, as well. There's like 5 of these losers, and you got to pick between one of them. It's really tough. Vele is not the one I would be picking, though, for me personally. I know he's really popular. He's stacked up some good, game logs in his 2 games. He's not actually good at football. Go watch the He's really big. So like his thing is I'm big and I play in the slot. So like they can't actually guard me that well. And Bo Nix throws it like 4 yards at a time. But his prop opened at like 33.5 yards. Like that's like 8 of those checkdowns. You know what I mean? Like I don't want that at all. Like Vele, he doesn't beat people. He doesn't like get open. He's just really big and he plays in the slot. It's kind of what I hate to be a hater on this guy. It's kind of what the Falcons have done with Drake London a little bit more this year, where they're like, oh, Darnell Mooney wins more than you on the outside. Okay, I guess you can be a mega slot and bully these 5'9" corners as a 6'4" wide receiver, and that's a good idea. But you want a guy that can win as well, and I'm not sure if Vele can do that. From what I've seen, he can't so far. So like that's just kind of it's as simple as that. But they have been getting beat by the slot a lot this year. That's why people like it. The Saints have sucked against the slot, but that's not the path for me. At how high his yards are. Receptions, I guess you could, with all the checkdowns, go for, but that he would not be my guy today personally. I'd rather go Lil Jordan Humphrey if he's playing.
Hey,
Cool
Lil with an apostrophe, bro. Yeah, I heard a T coming in there a little bit. I heard the T coming in there a little bit.
Roll the tape. Let's get an instant review on that.
Let's. I got some guys that I don't want to talk about, but we got questions about them, so we're gonna talk about it here. Let's. I'm gonna bring up two bets. Well, first off, for two guys, it's gonna be these Broncos guys. Because fuck, you're bad. Thoughts on Estime spot here? We're also getting brought up by our guy MSA talking about rush attempts over 11.5. It's I don't know, man.
No, Javonte, he got the cross off like week 3. Absolutely not. Like they're running like 3-4 backs. They're doing like as many guys as possible to get in there and get part of the rotation. Like I just have no interest in Javonte on the ground. He's a good pass blocker, so he's earning some more passing down reps, but it's not like he's doing much with them. And once again, defenses can plan around this team and how they don't throw the ball down the field. So you bring everyone in close and okay, you get a 1-yard reception for 0 yards. What did we do? Nothing. Like it's just like Javonte, absolutely nothing he could do for me right now. Like no interest in Javonte. I do like Estime a little bit more as the backup. I played this number's dead now, but I played first touchdown at 40-1, and then I played last touchdown, which I actually like more at 40-1 as well. I just played both of them with the logic that I legit think there could be only 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game. So if you like a touchdown score, for me, my strategy here is I would go first touchdown or I would go last touchdown. Like I don't know if there's going to be more than 2 touchdowns scored in this game. I have very little confidence in both these offenses. So if you think the same way I do, let's take an even longer shot at some of these risky guys. So I was going to talk about that a little bit at the end, but I mean, we are here at the end anyway right now. So I think that's a good way to approach it. There was some coach speak with him wanting to get him more involved this week. I saw his rush yards opened at like 13 and then it got taken down and put up at like 19. So I don't know where that's at now. That was right before the show started, but I would probably slightly lean over to his rush yards because he could have a new opportunity, but it's tough. Like the defense is still good on the other side. It's not like it's going to be an easy matchup. So I went with the long shot touchdown looks. That's what I would do.
Beautiful. Yeah, we'll break down all these spots. We got a lot of questions in here. Maybe we won't do like our look ahead just because we're gonna be here tomorrow and we'll be here ready to go. Yeah. So let's just get through because I see a lot of questions on this game, man, and a lot more than I was expecting on this game. We got our guy Mitch in here. Got 2 for you. We got Cortland Sutton, longest reception. That is a Stu question. I'll let him take that. And Cedric Wilson, alternate receptions at almost 5-1 for 4 catches. Any thoughts on this one here? I know we like a lot of alt reception spots. I'm just not sure if Cedric Wilson's a guy I want to deep dive in there too in this one. But I mean, with the value like that, it's kind of tough to kind of look away.
Yeah. Sorry, I just realized I posted the wrong link to the YouTube video. That's not good. My bad, guys. My bad. Anyone that clicked on the link, wrong link. Just corrected that real quick. As for Cortland Sutton, it's tough because Cortland Sutton is not someone I'm super high on. He's like pretty solid, good wide receiver. Bo Nix does like him. Like that's his number 1 guy. If you watch the tape, if you go back rewatch, he's looking for Sutton all the time. So for that reason, like if you have to, that's probably who I would go to. It's just like it's still not a great matchup. It's still going to be, I think, a lot of pressure in his face in this one with Nix. Like he's going to be rushing a decent amount. I'm just not sure I want to bet Cortland Sutton tonight. Like, that's just what it comes down to. Like, he's his number 1 target. He's going to be the guy he's looking for. I think that longest reception does make sense. I saw the hit rate has been pretty good. I saw our guy Matt Williams, I believe, is on that. I look at that, and there's just nothing – there's not enough of an edge for me to want to bet that. Like, it's just – there's not enough there for me. When I think it's a solid matchup, But like, it's just this offense is so ugly, and longest reception is so hard when Bo Nix is so infrequently throwing the ball down the field. So you're asking for more of a yak play, or you're asking for Cortland Sutton to be one of the few guys that catches that downfield route. Like, we have no clue which one of them it's going to be. So there's just not enough downfield opportunity for me to be like, running away, screaming. As for Cedric Wilson, I know you did roast it. I will be betting that today. I kind of gave it away earlier. This is one of those games where I think you just trust your instincts a little bit more. Cedric Wilson can be a good possession guy. He can be a good slot guy. What I'm thinking about, a guy that gets those quick checkdowns, a guy that's kind of somewhat dependable, that's been okay in the past. Cedric Wilson checks enough of those boxes for me to take his props at a much lower number than his, other like competitors on the team, So for that reason, like, I will have a little Cedric receptions ladder. What you sprinkled, I was gonna bring up at the end, because I didn't have like a set. Like, the only sandstone long shots I had were the 40-1 first and last touchdown, but like, those are kind of gone now. It's tough to give that out. But Cedric Wilson was on my list of things, of like receptions ladder for him, and probably Troy Franklin receiving yards are probably the two that I'm going to fire off once we get off of here.
Yeah, no, I'm just. You ever get that feeling that's like it gives you something, like when we look at these lines and they're like, oh, okay, like, why is it there? And then you think about it, and then. Now, like, I've seen this come out multiple times on Twitter, like, oh my God, there's a lot. And now it's going, I am now leaning back the other way, because this is now like too many people are like, damn, bro, let's start hammering these and shit. Like, this could be exactly what we think it's going to be. That's the thing, is like, that's why I'm worried. Like, I got to stick to like 2. I'm going like 2 or 3 spots. And in those spots, they're probably ladders. They're not even going to be straight bets, because y'all making me nervous. Right. There's too many people like saying like, "Oh my God, this game's gonna be awesome," because there's so many value. But the value's getting hammered, bro. Everybody's betting these lines, like you said about Troy Franklin, bro. It's like 20 something now. Like, God damn, bro. I'm expecting like a 3-yard ADOT now, and him have 7 catches for 20 yards, bro. Like, that's what I'm expecting, because you ever get that? Because there's like we're thinking that way too, where it's like there's a lot of value here. Everything's hitting smash. Like, when have you seen anybody betting under on anything? No, because these lines are so damn low. But that could be exactly what we're gonna get. Like, I'm nervous now, bro. That everybody thinks that there's this much value in this game.
I'm so happy you said that. I actually, unfortunately, think you're 100% right, because I've been part of the wave that's gotten swept up with this, like, oh, is this game actually going to be kind of good? And I was on the phone right before we got on with Nick the Picker, another like capper guy, and I was kind of saying the same thing of like, sure, like 1 or 2 of these guys is going to go over. Is everybody going to go over though? Like,
the other 90% are fucking way under, bro.
Yeah, because my first like thought for this week, right, when I instantly saw this game, was Spencer Rattler under 180 passing yards. Like, Surtain being out hurts that a little bit more, but for me, like, seeing that, I was expecting 160, so 180 off the bat. But you're right, there's been a lot of like propaganda, like guerrilla marketing from the NFL on Twitter. Like, I know exactly what you mean, and it's unfortunate, because the way I first approached this game is I'd rather bet 0 touchdowns than anything else. And now, I guess we are getting swept up in some long shots. So that's a good look right there to definitely chill out. And that's why I wanted to clarify too with my first and last touchdown, that like, that's why I'm doing that, because this game's gonna fucking suck. So I'd rather a couple bucks on the crazy long shots than like going heavy on a lot of stuff. So I agree with you. I'm very glad you brought that up, because the public, it does affect you sometimes. People do get in this wave of like, yo, this is a sleeper game right here. Look at all these young guys, all these unknowns. You could hit massive ladders. It is kind of FanDuel propaganda talk now that you mentioned it. It is kind of like, don't you want to bet on Johnny Davis threes today? He's in the starting lineup, and you're like, fuck, maybe I do.
Bro, he's playing 14 minutes. Like, it don't matter, and that's, oh my God, dude. I just had to say it, because like I'm glad
you did.
I seen enough of it, like, and I'm like, yeah, like, I would play ladders in this game. Like, that would probably be the only thing I play, but it's probably 1 or 2. Like, do I see 4 people hitting ladder numbers? Fuck no. This game is 37 total, bro. Like, it's not like there's going to be 1 or 2 that pop off, and I'll see all the tickets posted from like 19 people in a whatever party, Discord, whatever it is. And then guess what? The other 19 fucking lost because this game is still ass. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm just being a little too real on here, but I don't think that this is a game I want to be heavily invested in my money, where it seems like a lot of people want to just like, oh, this guy has a low number. This guy has a low number. It's not that hard to hit.
Yeah.
There's a reason it's that low, bro. They ain't good. They ain't good.
And once again, you're right. Low number does not automatically mean value. Once again, like Troy Franklin could have value at 15.5, but now we've moved 7 yards. You know what I mean? So once again, if you just looked at the game for the first time now, you go, Troy Franklin, only 21 yards. I mean, that's nothing, but you don't have that added context of like, well, he was 15 yards. And the week before, he was actually 0 yards because he wasn't even lined. You know what I mean? And there's a reason he wasn't lined, right? There weren't 4 injuries in this. He's just the same guy he was last week. So that's it. No, I'm very glad you said that, because obviously at the end of the day, we're here to create content. We're here to talk about a game, have some fun. And I think we did a pretty good job with what we were given today. But it is important to, like, when we talk about like betting a couple long shots or ladders, that doesn't mean you allocate all your money in your account to doing that today. It means, okay, toss a couple bucks on some crazy shit that might happen and keep it moving. So your bankroll is going to be good no matter what Sunday. And I see Bobby says back to the Foster Moreau ladder. I was actually just going to joke that it's going to be all these guys that people have the ladders for, and it's going to be like Foster Moreau with 2 touchdowns. Like one guy is going to have it. So shout out Foster Moreau. I probably bet his touchdown as well. I always do that.
All right, yeah, I think maybe we look at some defensive numbers when they come out, something like that too. So
I took Allen Sack. I mentioned Allen a little bit earlier. Shout out Ryan Noonan in the 4for4 Discord. He's a defense beast. He put that out early for only 0.25 sack. It was like -110, which is crazy against a rookie for a guy that's getting that much pressure. So I agree. Quarterback interceptions, and then the only other thing I'll say before we, get on out here, quarterback rushing, I don't think it's going to be too bad as well, just because I think they're going to be forced out of the pocket a lot. Like, neither of these guys are great runners necessarily, but I think they're going to be forced to have to run. And especially Spencer Rattler last week, he was out of the pocket all the time. Even if he wasn't scrambling, they were just shooing him out of the pocket and letting him kind of do these like little rollouts and stuff like that. So that's another way if you do want to bet any kind of over, because you're kind of betting on the defense doing good in a certain way, forcing them out of the pocket, forcing these scramble opportunities. Then what do they do with them? That's kind of up to them. But yeah, definitely agree. Ugly game, a lot of defense, very limited touchdown scoring tonight. Don't get too carried away.
Okay, one last thing I want to say before we get out of here. We'll go through those if you want to. We kind of talked about our long shots, but I'll let you talk about it again. I'm going to play a long shot tonight. But one thing I will say, and this is something I haven't seen anybody do it, but just keep your eyes out. If you see anybody talking about rush yards for these rookies and them using any sort of college numbers, sacks count for rush yards, guys.
Yeah.
Just make sure. I just got to say that because I have a feeling it's going to come up sometimes. It'll be like, dude, he's not hit this number even when he was playing in college and shit. Bro, sacks count as rush attempts in college. So just heads up. Spencer Rattler had 27 yards last week rushing. I know he had those spots, but in college he would have 5 yards. Because he had 5 sacks for 21 yards again. So just, I'm telling you guys that now. I bet a lot of college football. You guys know I bet a lot of college football. So it's like, just need to put that out there because I do not want people to think that you look at his college numbers, oh, this guy can't run for shit. He ain't bad at running. Like that's the thing is you just lose yards for any sort of sack. You that counts for rushing. So just had to put that out there because I have a feeling that's going to come up at some point in something.
That's a good call. And Rattler played behind a garbage offensive line going up against Georgia and Alabama. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to look pretty on paper. So definitely agree. And yeah, I'm glad you brought that up though. Overall, like I like our spots today, but it's important. Don't get too carried. It's one game. It's a Thursday. We do not have to get crazy on this game, no matter how much like Book It with Trent is hyping up the vibes on Twitter. You know what I mean? Because I do absolutely get what you mean, especially if you're making like the content too on our side. You got to get a little fired up in one way or another, but it's also, you shouldn't let that get you carried away and like make dumb bets on like Vele 10 plus receptions at plus 800.
Yeah, no, and that's luckily for me. I got baseball, so it's like I'm not as bought in right now because obviously I'm watching a lot of that. So Stu, anything else you want to talk about here before we head out?
Not really. I mean, I see Lucas Kroll, shout out from Birdman. We got to get Birdman on here sometime soon as well. And a great gambling Twitter guy, a lot of good picks over there. But yeah, not really. I mean, once again, we'll be back tomorrow. So like what could I possibly say? We'll see you guys again tomorrow. I fired like 4 picks already for this weekend. So this game does suck. I don't know if you've looked that much at the weekend. A lot of sneaky bangers on this slate, like a lot of sneaky good games between two teams that like I'm not sure who's going to win, which I think that adds a little bit of interest, a lot of close games. So I fired off like 4 plays. If you want to see those before we hop on past the prop, make sure to join over at 4 for 4, $10 first month with code Mono. Absolutely blew up 2 of those lines. I'll tell you off the show, even one of them still playable. It's like the worst line of the season so far. So a lot of good stuff. Super excited for this weekend. Super excited to be back here tomorrow with an even bigger show with even more props.
Yeah, we still got 65 of you guys in here live with us. We appreciate all the support throughout all of these, and obviously again tomorrow, regular time, ready to go. I know these are usually a shorter shows. Obviously, the game's in a couple hours here, so wish your boy luck. I have my matchup with my wife this week, so it's rough, bro. My team is beat to shit, bye week, injuries, everything, but I have to win this week. So at least, the worst part is we match up with each other on the worst fucking primetime games. I get this bullshit. Sunday morning, I get to fucking deal with the Patriots and shit Jaguars. That's my other primetime. Like, sucks, bro. Like, couldn't give me some hammers? Like, we are already going to watch Houston Green Bay. Like, that's a banger, bro. Couldn't that have been, like, on a different week where I knew I was going to get to watch that one? So it's just, man, why does fantasy got to do that to me? Because I got to, she'd be like, we play each other this week. Goes, what game's on tonight? I'm like, baseball. Baseball's on tonight. We ain't watching this fucking garbage. I ain't gonna put her through that because guess what? She ain't gonna let me watch another football game for the rest of my life. I make her watch fucking 60 minutes of that dog. So I'm a little hyped up about that because I'm just pissed that every one of the primetime games, at least before the Sunday slate, is just ass. Like making her watch the Jaguars at 8:30 a.m. with the Patriots. Like, what more could you want to just not watch? Like, it's gonna be so bad. So yeah, just gross. At least we get the Ravens on Monday. Ravens Bucks, like that'll be fun. Like that'll be a good one. But we'll get there. So we'll see you guys in about 23 hours. Ready to go. Hit that like button on the way out, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Best of luck. Again, we'll do a quick recap because I think it was like 20 minutes ago now that we talked about these. So Jawan Johnson, 2.5 catches. Guardians under 9.5 with Kamara, 4 catches. Updated numbers. We're ready to go. We'll be back here tomorrow, guys. Best of luck on all your bets, and see you tomorrow.